Alright. How am I going to get this done? Well, just gotta... Good. Conditions are safe to do this. Alright. Time to call in a little help.
Seriously, Becky, why are you wearing your go boots to a date out in the forest? That makes no sense. Anyway, let's get this bedhead of yours taken care of. Hello?
Dude, I'm gonna need your help with something.
With what?
A top 10 list of Power Ranger villains that should have had the top slot.
Really now? I can definitely help you there.
Awesome. Now teleport to my command center. Immediately.
Right away.
Alright, good to have you on board, my brother.
Thanks for the invite.
Of course, the only person I know who likes Power Rangers more than me is me. But of course, you qualify very much as well.
Way to be humble.
Right. Speaking of which, are you ready?
Let's do this.
It's morphin' time!
Power Professor! Yes! Right power coin!
Go, go, Guardian! Greetings, ladies, gentlemen, and others. I am the Guardian.
And I'm the Professor.
And here we're presenting with another top 10 list. Or actually, it might be the first top 10 list of the year.
It actually is.
By the way, people, get used to that. We're probably going to do a lot more top 10 lists, because it's actually kind of fun.
Oh, yeah. And like Nostalgia Critic, we're only doing 10.
Yeah, because why top 10? Because no one needs to go that beyond. So, Professor?
Yes, Guardian.
I'm pretty sure we established it in our small skit at the beginning of the video, but what, pray tell, is this list?
Well, this is a list we came up for a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. Yeah, a little while ago.
Mm-hmm.
The top 10 Power Ranger villains who were underlings that were more threatening than the actual boss themselves.
Right, because we love Power Rangers, but there are a number of problems. The Cal explosions, sometimes the stories aren't exactly on par. Operation Overdrive.
Metaphors!
Yeah. And more often than not, sometimes the villains aren't the best either.
Isn't that the truth?
Now, there are cases where the main villain is just trash, like Lothor and Divatox for certain. Oh, and that Prince guy from Super Megaforce.
Who was actually really childish in Super Sentai, but was actually a decent threat when he actually came up to bat.
Yeah, I believe it. Actually, I don't believe it based off what I saw in Megaforce, but I'd prefer the Sentai, obviously. But these are actually the villains, like the underlings, that either got plenty of screen time and should have had the spotlight, or were just runners-up, truthfully.
Yeah, which is rather odd.
Especially for a show like Power Rangers, with so many different villains and so many potential ideas essentially gift wrapped to us by that of Super Sentai.
And somehow Saban, Nickelodeon, Disney, any one of them has dropped the ball on more than one occasion.
Oh, most certainly.
And don't even get me started on the Great War.
Oh, and while we may have another entire video dedicated to this, like perhaps maybe a little something regarding theories of ours.
Yep, we're going to go so deep into the lore, so watch out for that.
Yeah, but for now, we're just going to talk about the villains that weren't exactly treated the best when they should have had the main spotlight.
Would you care to start us off, Guardian?
Oh yes, so let's start this off with... Number 10. Now, my personal opinion, Lightspeed Rescue was actually an underrated series of the Rangers.
That's for sure.
I mean, we have characters like Carter Grayson, a pretty good setup with the Power Rangers actually being a military force, Carter Grayson, and one of the first original actual Power Rangers with the Titanium Ranger, Oh, and Carter Grayson. But honestly, not the best thing for Lightspeed Rescue was the villains. However, I will say that at number 10, Diabolico himself deserves this spot because he was the very first threat that the Rangers faced. And he honestly was a pretty legitimate one, especially when it was his turn up to bat. Not to mention that he was responsible for the creation of the Titanium Ranger, in a manner of speaking.
That's for sure. And that's a little something that's new, too, for Power Rangers itself, because the Titanium Ranger does not exist in Super Sentai. That is an American creation.
Right. And while Diabolico was the first threat, he was still technically an underling to Queen Banshira, which we'll probably make a list about the worst Power Ranger villains another day.
Vipra!
Oh, yes. But after Diabolico got his star power transferred to that of Impus, who later became Prince Olympius, I still regret having not that much of Diabolico because I liked him a lot more than Banshira and her bratty son. Oh, and also, he was much better villain than Vipra.
That's not saying much.
Fair point, but let me get to why Diabolico was actually a legit good villain. While he was no match for Carter Grayson with a couple of pistol guns, he still was a legit threat. He came up with most of the ideas with the trickster guy who created the monsters. He was mostly responsible for that, and he was a very strategic enemy. Like I said, that with the Titanium Ranger stuff. But he just didn't get enough screen time, where I think it might have been a third into the series that he was swapped out for Olympius, which was legitimately disappointing.
Honestly, this list is actually going to make me want to go back and actually rewatch all these Power Ranger series, because it's literally been years since I've watched most of them.
Hopefully that'll go double for any of the audience members who have their nostalgia brain, part of their brain, sort of poked and interested.
That's for sure.
So, to wrap up number 10, Diabolico should have been treated with a lot more respect, because why oh why did Vipra get more screen time than him?
I don't know, take it up to the people at Fox Kids.
Fox what now? Number 9. Now, if memory serves with my memory, one of my favorite series was Dino Thunder.
Oh, okay, Dino Thunder. Oh, Dino Thunder.
Yes, I mean, we have Tommy Oliver returning as the new Black Dino Thunder Power Ranger.
Which makes him 4 different colors, but 5 Rangers overall.
Exactly. Also, actual teenagers, in a manner of speaking, they act like teenagers. Sort of a parallel to Tommy's Green Ranger with the White Ranger. And a villain that was so much better than Lothor.
And don't forget, it actually had an actual evil ranger that was a White Ranger, while Tommy was a good White Ranger, but an evil Green Ranger.
Thus, a pretty good parallel to Tommy.
Just like you said.
But we're not talking about that. We'll do that another day. We bring up Dino Thunder because I think Zeltrax is a good number 9 choice.
Easily.
Now, while his connection to Tommy was really weak...
It definitely seems like it was very forced.
Oh, it was especially forced. It could have been much simpler for Zeltrax to sort of see Tommy as an ultimate rival to essentially destroy, instead of,
"It was your fault that I became this thing because Mesgog saved me after an experiment blew up in my face."
Yeah, because, what was his name? Wilson Littleroot? Something Little?
I don't fucking know. We only know him as Zeltrax.
That's true. Because didn't they like force that in like something like the last 10 or so episodes?
Not really. That was actually early on. But speaking of the last few episodes, Zeltrax became a much better threat when he went rogue from Mesogog, when he got that sort of super thing when he...
Mutation, per se?
Mutation. Yeah, that's a good word. When he saw essentially, the Fountain of Youth in Power Rangers. When he absorbed the tree sap, and he got this new form that made him even more of a badass. Because, keep in mind, before that, he was capable of going toe-to-toe with the evil White Ranger, who was capable of taking down all of the Rangers single-handedly without breaking a sweat.
Yep, all 4 of them, including Tommy.
You ever notice that most of the time with these evil Power Rangers, or 6th Rangers in general, they have some form of super speed?
Wow, you're right. Or ungodly super strength. And they don't even use that when they actually go and join the Rangers.
Yeah, because if they do use it, it's only when they're evil.
It's like going good instantly nerfs them.
In a manner of speaking. Either way, Zeltrax. He was pretty damn tough, and he was one of the final challenges for the Rangers, and he had the balls to deceive and betray Mesogog.
Yeah, the same guy who has mind control and can actually make it hurt.
Yes. In other words, don't fuck with Zeltrax. Or at least I would say that if he wasn't destroyed.
Yeah, and then came the Battle of Mesogog, where he went down like a little puss.
Again.
A Pussosaurus, if you will.
Pussosaurus. Again, a later video. But for now, we've got number 8. With number 8, we have a double dose of trouble here with Heckle and Snide.
Now, I need to still watch Dino Charge, but what from I've seen, thanks to you showing me some of the stuff, Heckle is actually pretty freaking spooky.
Now, essentially, he was a good soul, but he was corrupted by the dark Energem. He was corrupted by the dark Energem, and the personality of Snide essentially corrupted the good Heckle. But even then, right now, Snide is a basic brute, but at least he has some form of intelligence because he knows he can plow through the Rangers. But Heckle is another story. This might be the first time, with the exception of the evil Power Rangers, of course, where a villain has tried to use deception and intercept and sort of infiltrate the Rangers themselves.
Yeah, that was very interesting because I'm going to take a little history from Super Sentai right here. And he's actually based off an actual villain named Enter from Tokimei Sentai Go Busters. He actually has, if not, the same costume as him and the same way of doing things. Because he was also a scientist, very smart, and actually turned out to be an underling of the main bad guy of the series, who actually turned out to be more threatening. Even so far as almost destroying Go Busters on more than one occasion.
Now, truth be told, they only do that whole Heckle trying to infiltrate the team for like 4 episodes, which is a disappointment. From what he did, he apparently got more done than Sledge did throughout the entire first half of Dino Charge.
And just imagine, if Saban and Nickelodeon weren't like skipping on this garbage, we could have saw Heckle becoming the Death Ranger, the Kill Ranger. Because in that series, the Death Ranger is actually, I guess to say, their own version of a Navy Ranger, and it's a dinosaur from Jurassic Park 3. The Spinosaurus is his animal.
You mean the motherfucking T-Rex killer?
Yeah. That's his animal. He has his own set of Zords, and his giant weapon, his main weapon is a boomerang that also doubles as a flute.
Saban, Disney, guys, what the fuck are you doing? You're letting potential slip through your fingers! Right, they're for children.
That doesn't mean anything. Super Sentai's for children, and that gets incredibly damn dark.
Oh, you're serious. Right, where were we? Alright, Snide and Heckle. Great villains.
You might want to reverse that. Heckle and Snide sounds a little like...
Jekyll and Hyde. That's literally what they were going for.
I know.
Number 7. While Heckle and Snide from Dino Charge was a part of a good series, and we'll have our own thoughts about Dino Charge and how we're going to actually try to defend it in another video, we're going back to something that wasn't so great.
Are you about to say what I think you're about to say?
I am talking about Super Samurai.
Okay. I thought we were talking about another super that we will not mention anytime soon.
Oh no, that's going to be mentioned later, dude.
Sad but true.
Yeah, But with Samurai and Super Samurai, Master Xandred looked the part, but he essentially sat on his ass drinking medicine all the time. Or at least in the Japanese version, I bet that's booze.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I have to watch it again, but most likely it is definitely liquor.
Yeah. But, instead of Dayu, or even Decker, we actually do have a legitimately intimidating and sort of brilliant villain, Octoroo. Now, my thing with Octoroo is that he could have been so much better. It could have been a change of pace if he was the main villain, where instead of, like, trying to smash the Rangers with brute force like Sledge does, and don't get me wrong, Sledge does it just fine, it's perfect for his character, but Octoroo, it would have been, like, sort of a game of chess.
Remember, when it comes to these kind of guys, it's always about the character design.
Yes. Right. But still, imagine a battle with the Power Rangers being sort of a game of chess. Sort of an intellectual battle in addition to fighting with brute force. That would have been great.
The ultimate calculated game.
Yes, because even in the Super Sentai, which I saw a little bit of, as sort of with a specific YouTube video where it shows all of the Red Rangers, and I actually looked into this, with Jaden, or at least the Red Samurai Ranger, going into Super Samurai mode with a black cloak. Now, when I did look into that, it apparently was a crossover with Goseiger, Megaforce, and what is it, Shinkenger?
Yeah, Shikinger. It was Goseiger versus Shikinger.
Yeah, and Octoroo came back, I guess either corrupted or brainwashed the Red Samurai Ranger with the Super Samurai mode and had him fight the Goseigers. Proof that given maybe a better script or a better team to sort of put this sort of thing together, Octoroo could have been one of the most challenging things any of the Rangers had ever faced. But instead, we have a funny octopus face.
And the sad thing is, this also gets referenced in that movie, because in that movie where we get to see Octoroo again, we also get a glimpse of Gokaiger before their series even started. And so it's the traditional Super Sentai, with them transforming into 5 of the past Red Rangers, and basically obliterating him to nothing.
So, you're going to see this a lot in this list. Villains that just had all sorts of wasted potential. Whether it be because of money, or thoughts that it wouldn't get good ratings, or in Super Megaforce's case, pure laziness.
Yep. And speaking of Super Megaforce and Goseiger, we'll get right back to that. This is gonna be a doozy.
But for now, number 6, Go Power Rangers in Space. Now this was a breath of fresh air compared to Turbo.
Even then, in Space, I think actually was pretty decent, and I guess would say on par with Mega Ranger. Yes, that's actually a Japanese name. Mega Ranger. School kids whose powers are based on the internet and video games.
Yeah, sounds like a perfect Japanese show for the millennials.
1999, man. 1999.
1999. But within Space, we actually did have a good gaggle of villains. Minus Elgar.
That's right, he was there, wasn't he?
Yeah, luckily Astronema didn't take any of his shit. But we're not talking about Astronema, and thank God we're not talking about Elgar. No, instead we're talking about Ecliptor. Now, while people can argue that Astronema was the main villain, technically she was still a puppet of, Dark Spectre.
Yeah, Dark Spectre, that just sounds like something just made up for, like, a generic fantasy comic or a story.
Right.
And I can't really remember too much about him, but honestly, Astronema was indeed a puppet, but it just seems like she was also a bit more of a puppet for Ecliptor than anything.
Especially during the second half.
Oh, here we go.
But we'll save Astronema for another video. But for now, we're discussing Ecliptor, and damn was he a badass!
I mean, look at his character design!
Yeah, that is legit, creative, and intimidating.
That is a legit glitch in the Matrix!
Yeah. Not only is this guy capable of plowing through all of the Rangers, but he is essentially the perfect soldier and second in command to Astronema.
Not to mention the fact that he's one of the managed to last the longest out of all the villains in space, even so far as actually fighting Andros right before he gets to Zordon's 2.
Yeah. And on top of that, which a villain we actually did miss, who is on par with Ecliptor, he was capable of going toe-to-toe with Darkonda, who is essentially the Joker of in space.
And Joker alone is a demon himself.
Yeah, that's essentially what Darkonda was. But with sort of the fatherly sort of thing that he has going with Astronema, he is capable of defending her no matter what. So he does have a bit of honor to him, but in general, he is just a beast.
He would be what Korag would be if Korag wasn't so much as an anti-hero.
Yeah. Guess who's not on the list?
Yeah. Sorry, Korag. You're a cool dude, but
You were done better, essentially, 10 seasons ago. Mystic Force, SPD, Dino Thunder, Ninja Storm, Wild Force, Time Force, Lightspeed Rescue, Lost Galaxy, in space. 9 seasons ago.
wow. Well, been longer. Neat.
Number 5!
Zurgane from Power Rangers Ninja Storm, our JetX days.
Yes, and let it be known that literally any of the other generals in Ninja Storm would have been better than Lothor.
Seriously, we watched all of Ninja Storm, and I'm still trying to figure out why a guy who was definitely looked rather Asian didn't look like a Mexican masked wrestler.
I don't fucking know, but better question is...
Lothor was a joke!
Yeah, and the better question is, why wasn't Zurgane the main villain?
If I remember correctly, I think Zurgane actually was the main villain in Hurricaneer.
I mean, look at him. He's intimidating, he's got those big shoulder blades, which are good for bashing opponents, and he's got ninja swords sticking out of them.
He's definitely more of a shogun, which fits into the whole ninja theme, than Lothor ever does.
Not only that, but he was capable of creating his own Zord, probably from scratch, just by watching the Rangers take out every single one of their monsters.
Yeah, that's something we've never seen in Power Rangers like that on that kind of scale. He actually learned from his mistakes and actually built something to go toe-to-toe with the Rangers.
Now, granted, his Zord is eventually destroyed, but at the time, he was just plowing through Tori, Dustin, and Shane.
What about Blake and Hunter? And to a lesser extent, Cameron?
Yeah, he was plowing through them as well, especially when his Zord went into its lightning mode, but then it was eventually destroyed, but then he eventually brought it back. And essentially, he's just a much better, smarter, stronger, cooler-looking villain.
Yep, not to mention the fact that he was also the one responsible for actually making him grow, as well as the hiring process.
Yeah. Which, sadly, they made that comedic, too.
But do we even really care about that?
Not really, but I just wish Zurgane was the main villain for that.
Yeah. Plus, you gotta admit, it was funny when we was trying on the Best Villain Award.
Essentially. Yeah. Moving on. Number 4. Now we're heading back to the good old days of the original Power Rangers.
Of all the campiness one could ever stand,
Including, actually, 2 villains in this slot, because they're essentially on equal terms.
they pretty much are. Plus, hey, it's our list. We can do whatever the hell we want.
Yeah, so, without further ado, we're just taking a look at, this time, Goldar and Rita Revolto.
Hey guys,
What?
what's going on?
Well,
Hi, Sutter. What are you doing here?
I don't know, just hanging around. I hit this weird button and I ended up coming here, so I don't know. What you guys doing?
Power Ranger stuff.
Yeah, it's a top 10 list of the villains in Power Rangers that should have been the main villains. In fact, they're actually on camera right now.
Hi!
Yeah. This is our number 4, and we put Goldar and Rita Revolto in number 4th place.
Goldar specifically because he was a legitimate threat to the Rangers themselves, especially during the Green with Evil saga. He just kept wrecking Jason.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time we had Jason dead to rights ever.
Yeah, and Rito is especially on the list because he was one of the only villains to actually destroy the Zords.
And not to mention the fact all the gifts they actually gave him hell. Remember, he was the one that gifted them the original Tengu Warriors.
Yeah.
And the Vampire's Egg,
Mm-hmm.
which he actually brilliantly hid in front of Ninjor's hideout.
So we have some rotten skeleton looking dude, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much him.
Which one's the skeleton dude?
Rito.
Yeah,
and
the
then
one.
the other one is...
Goldar.
Okay.
Yeah. I still don't understand why he's wearing army camouflage fatigue colors.
I think it's part of...
Aesthetic?
I think it's just part of the fact that he reeks like the dead.
Ew.
Literally, part of his superpowers, he just raises his armpits and knocks out some of the townspeople because of his smell.
Okay, and with that, have fun, guys. Bye!
Bye.
Bye. Huh. You think they ever actually added, like, you know, like, this, like, the stink lines or, like, the odor color from that when they revamped Power Rangers for Jetix? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Power Rangers Generations?
Yeah, that's it. That piece of crap.
Nah. Right?
Number 3!
Here we're going back in time, not for Back to the Future, but for Power Rangers Time Force.
I guess it's time for Time Force.
Yeah. And time for another great villain that should have been the main villain.
Who was also hidden behind was essentially could have been a really cool character, but was just didn't push the envelope far enough with him. He had a cool design, but we all say he was just basically, he was a weaker, lesser Magneto in Time Force's case, because he was fighting for you, right?
Rancic?
Yeah.
Yeah, while Rancic was the main villain, Frax, on the other hand, actually had a lot more going for him. And had this taken place in the future, it would have actually been just as good. Because with Frax's case, he was a human who was destroyed by Rancic, but survived the attack, and essentially turned himself into a robot to then force his own war to the Power Rangers and Rancic, and essentially creating a new future of robots.
Huh. You know, if it was the proper time period and they actually were trying to be clever about it and wanted to, like, you know, harken back to this kind of days, just imagine what he would have been like during the days of RPM.
Probably wouldn't have been better than Venjix.
He could have been Skynet itself.
Essentially. But, once again, harping on the good things that he is capable of, in the Dawn of Destiny sort of arc where Alex comes back to the past, spoiler.
Oh, right. Yeah. Alex is a prick.
Yeah. Frax finally made his move against Rancic in destroying his serum, essentially turning his own robot servants towards his side, away from Rancic, and created a sort of Dragon Zord-esque creature called Dragantron, who was capable of thrashing the Power Rangers Megazord. And in a comparison that most of you might get, Dragantron was essentially the Death Star of Time Force.
I mean, the fact with the whole thing Time Force is going for it, with the addition of Quantum Ranger, it was definitely trying to harken back to the days of Dragon Zord versus the Tyrannosaur.
Mm-hmm. Because the Dragantron robot machine had only one weakness, and it was like a thing on its back, which, of course, Wes successfully took out. No problem. But if they hadn't known about that, because he kept upgrading Dragantron, Frax would have been able to destroy the Power Rangers.
So he could have essentially won if not for the fact that he actually added the essential Death Star exhaust port.
Yes.
If you wanted to, you could have had that in like a more inconspicuous place. Like, didn't they have a tail or something?
Yeah, the tail, yeah.
You could have turned that into like some kind of weaponized feature against the Zords by actually having the exhaust port in the tail and actually shoot some kind of smoke attack for distraction against them.
Or, if even being the smarter case, he could have put that vulnerable spot inside Dragontron's near impenetrable armor.
Yeah. Why not just make the whole thing out in the same armor?
That might actually be a pretty cool death battle to see. Dragontron versus Mechagodzilla.
Get on it, Screw Attack!
Number 2.
And this is what I was referencing back how many spots ago?
Probably 6 to 8.
Yeah. Vrak, also known as Baraja, and Tensou Sentai Goseiga. Vrak here, while still being a really indomitable villain, actually had a backstory, mind you.
A backstory for a Power Rangers villain?
Yeah. And Goseiga,
Mm-hmm.
he still has like the hints of it, but you wouldn't know it from him. But he was originally an agent of the Big Head, which led the Gosei Angels, which became Megaforce. So he's essentially like Lucifer, a fallen angel that can actually wield the powers of land, sea, and air all at the same time. Also not mention the fact that also in Goseiga, he was one who originally corrupted Gosei Knight, or as you better know him, as Robo Knight.
You know, I'm starting to see it. The more I think about it, Rock kind of does look like Gosei's forehead.
Exactly. Because if you actually look on it, his actual features are corruption of the emblem of Goseiga.
Also, you guys wouldn't know it from Power Rangers, but in Goseiga, he was a master of disguise through deception, thus why he appears in, like, angel clothing and a robot's machine and the lobster-looking thing, and of course his default form, which I'm assuming all had their own special abilities against the Rangers.
Oh, don't you know it. Matter of fact, he also had a darker, fallen, dark devil form. They essentially made Lucifer for kids.
And he got little to no potential and screen time. Right behind, what was the main villain? I don't even know anymore.
I can make this a lot worse. In the Gokaiger Goseiga 199 Battle movie, Baraja was actually resurrected from the dead by the original main bad guy from the original Go Ranger series from 1975.
Mm-hmm.
Like full alive, fully powered. And he was fighting both Red Gosei and Red Gokaiger.
So, in other words, if we had this kind of thing taken to us in Power Rangers, we would have an assload of symbolism!
Pretty much. And it even gets worse at the end of the movie. After they destroy him, and when they actually find the big bad guy of that movie,
yeah,
he and the other better generals throughout the entire course of Sentai history are also brought back in a giant battle against the mechas.
That would have been great to see!
Yep. If only it was done properly and with a different team.
Yeah, but instead, we got this guy who disappeared at the end of Megaforce, came back for only 2 episodes in Super Megaforce, where he neutralized the Rangers' legendary modes, and essentially almost destroyed the planet with what you mentioned before, corrupting Robo Knight.
Yeah. And Gosei Knight and Robo Knight, they already were a little touched because they did not have any consideration for human life to begin with.
I do not understand this thing called emotion. Yellow Ranger, what is love?
Don't hurt me. No more.
Number 1! And here's to the best underrated villain of the Power Rangers series.
That spot going to Imperius from Power Rangers Mystic Force. What a bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
Imperius, originally known in his human form as Kalendor, was one of the Mystics who fought beside Dagron, Liambo, Udana, and the Gatekeeper during the Great Mystic War. He was the one who originally betrayed the Mystics and got into a fight with Dagron that sent them missing for what, 20 years?
If not 20, 2,000. Not exactly sure.
No, it wouldn't be 2,000 because Udana and Liambo and everyone else isn't that old.
Right. It might be 20 years. Or maybe 50. 50 is a good round number.
Even then, that's still too long.
Udana still looks like a teenager, bro.
Udana does not look a teenager.
She did.
You're
In the
talking-
flashback, the original, in the first episode.
Yeah, but even then, she lost her husband and lost her son. She ain't aging well at all.
Nah, fair point. Well, whatever the reason, Imperious. Just look at this motherfucker. Seriously, back a bit, let people see that, because, okay, so where else have we seen a frickin' mummy in Power Rangers?
The only thing we ever came close to anything of that kind of caliber, you know he's not a mummy, was King Sphinx.
You're right. Not only does he look the part, he bleeds charisma. He is essentially it's essentially one of those talkative baddies that you just love to hate.
Not to mention the fact that he has a fan for a weapon, and it actually cuts deep.
Oh yeah, Dagron would know about that, most certainly.
Not to mention the fight elements, the times he's actually supposed to get Korag, and he managed to actually wind up actually stealing his magic and giving it a Necroli.
Yeah. And truth be told, wait, I thought Korag gave that willingly.
Yeah, but it was a great big workaround due to Imperius' scheming.
Yeah, that's proof. Imperious is a mastermind. Essentially, the top 3 slots of these villains are all masterminds.
Yeah, basically, he was a bit of a lesser threat in Super Sentai, but in Super Sentai, his name was literally Mimi. Mimi. M-E-E-M-Y.
Proof to say that Power Rangers, sometimes we just make the badass even more badass.
Yeah, or just make it badass in general.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention the fact, but look at him. He's a representation of a mummy. Just like the rest of the enemies, the big main bad guys in Mystic Force.
Right, because Korag's a werewolf, isn't he?
Yeah, and Mordecai's supposed to be a representation of Frankenstein's monster.
I don't see it.
It's because he's made of different components and parts.
I guess.
Necroli's a vampire.
Obviously.
Sculpin is supposed to be a representation of the creature from Black Lagoon.
That is interesting. And of course, let's not forget the one true reason he is number 1 on this list.
He actually accomplished what no other villain actually managed to do.
He managed to wipe out the Power Rangers. He won. He won.
Not to mention the fact, but during the whole 3-episode arc of Dark Wish.
May I?
Oh, please do.
He releases the 4 terrors, which, truthfully, he should have done earlier if he wanted to take over the world any faster. But he had the terrors fight the Rangers battle after battle after battle to essentially make them become so desperate that they fatigued that they call upon Genji, their genie, to do something. He captures Genji, and he uses the one wish to make sure that Power Rangers never existed.
Nah, that's not the wish. Remember, it was the wish of ridding the world of good magic entirely.
I believe you are right about that, but the wish, word for word, was, I wish there were no Mystic Force Power Rangers.
No, that wasn't the wish. It was literally, I wish for there to be no good magic.
Hold a moment.
I stand corrected. It would have been a lot better if we wished for no good magic. That way, they wouldn't even need to wish for there wouldn't be Mystic Force Rangers to begin with.
There had to be a way for the Rangers to win somehow, wouldn't there be?
True.
But, in the way of wishing for no Mystic Force Rangers, essentially, he potentially turned the tide of the Magic War back then, because if you think, those legendary wizards were rangers and, like, ranked themselves, perhaps.
That actually makes perfectly valid sense.
Which, of course, also would explain why he essentially killed Daggeron by having him never be turned into a frog, and therefore, possibly he was the one who was imprisoned.
They should be on. I want to talk about this for like a vlog. After this.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do a vlog after this.
Yeah. But still,
He won.
he won. He wiped out the Mystic Rangers, and even though you're right, it would have been smarter to wish for no more good magic so that there wouldn't be a Deus Ex Machina with the legendary Mystic modes, which, honestly, are the coolest looking sort of battleizers, right?
Oh, easily.
Yeah, but
Remember,
still.
if you really think about, I know this is going off topic, but if you actually really think about it, the Mystic Forest Legend mode was actually more practical than their actual normal mode.
Yeah. Yeah, but he did win. And you actually mentioned this to me before. He was hidden away.
Right. That's another thing. Not exactly sure where this fits into it, but that Mystic Seal that was hiding Daggeron's lamp, Daggeron in his frog form, as well as Imperius in his mummy statue mode,
which was really creepy, and I kind of want it.
Yeah, that actually would be a really creepy place setting or something to have on your shelf.
Yeah, but you were saying?
That seal is only used by Liambo.
So Lianbo must have imprisoned Imperius and hid him away before he eventually was corrupted by the Master.
But that wouldn't make any sense though, because Liambo was ways away, actually at the door of the Master's chamber.
Yeah, but let's of course remember.
Vlog.
Yeah, but let's just accept the fact that he was hidden away. Many evils have been imprisoned. I mean, Rita in her dumpster. I suppose Master Vile, in a manner of speaking. Possibly the orgs, essentially. You get the idea.
Even Lopor was thrown into space.
Yeah, but where have we seen a villain who is imprisoned and hidden away?
And turned into basically an inanimate object that had to be resurrected or revived.
Yeah. We don't exactly see stuff like that, but that just goes to show that if Lianbo thought that he was that much of a threat, he is a true force to be reckoned with. He was so much better than Mordecai.
Yeah, because the only thing I think of is that Daggeron probably, we're going to have to look this up, see what Daggeron's seal looks like, because I remember that seal. Udon's is on Liambo's seal, but its version is white, and that is definitely golden.
Might have been Daggeron, because I think I remember that in their last battle, it was Daggeron, because he, shot a mystic seal at Imperius, and Imperius shot another one, and both their blows collided and sort of spat back towards them in the other way, so that Imperius was imprisoned as an inanimate object, while Daggeron was simply turned into a frog.
Which would explain why his lamp was there.
Yeah.
Alright, well that makes sense then.
And so I'd say that this brings our list to a close with the best underrated Power Ranger villain being that
Imperius.
beautiful bastard Imperius.
Yep. I mean, he's a mummy, but he's also rocking what looks like a silken cloak and robe. With a fan.
Plus a couple of stoplights behind him, which might be gems of power, given that it's Mystic Force.
He's bejeweled. He looks and sounds camp, but he's actually the greatest force to be reckoned with in the series.
Yeah, and he did the impossible for many villains.
He actually won.
For 3 episodes.
Yep.
He won for a limited time, but remember, that's a feat that not many other villains have actually accomplished.
Because we don't even count Rita and Zed turning the original 6 Rangers into kids.
Yeah.
Because they were still there, and they were still the Alien Rangers.
They were still there.
He wiped out a team.
Yeah, they were still there. They wiped out the team. They destroyed their ninja powers, but the Rangers were still alive, and another set of Rangers came and just sort of stole their spotlight. And they didn't exactly take over the world.
Nope.
So, that said, we do believe that Imperius is the true badass. Yeah, this was fun. We need to do more top 10 lists like this.
Oh, definitely. This turned out very well.
Top 10 best Rangers. Each of the colors too. Favorite reds, greens, blues, etc., etc. Villains, definitely. We'll catch you guys.
What about
another
command
time.
centers?
Command centers, that's good. But we'll catch you guys on the next rerun. And I am the Guardian once again.
And I'm the Professor. How you doing?
We'll catch you guys later. Yeah. So yeah, command centers is a good one. We could also possibly Megazords. Ooh, Megazords is a good one. Mentors. That is great. Mentors are good. We'll also do what else? What else is there?
We could do morph sequences, morphs, morphers.
All three of the great ones. I see that very much being potential. Also, we could probably do series themselves and theme songs.
That is true.
Yeah, of course the theme songs would have to be done in a way so that we don't get copyrighted, but it would still be worth it just to share our thoughts.
Oh, definitely. Not to mention the fact that I can see some future with this because I can definitely start talking a bit more about Super Sentai.
So that'll be good too, and... Wait,
What?
you guys are still here?
Oh! Wow.
I guess they just wanted to stick around to see what other potential stuff we had.
I feel flattered by that, actually.
Yeah, it's nice to know you guys actually do care.
Thank you.
Also, we possibly missed a few topics, so go ahead and leave a comment below regarding what sort of Power Ranger themed video you would like, or even anything else. We could probably do Doctor Who,
Pokemon.
maybe Digimon,
I roar.
and well, essentially whatever you think that we would be able to give you guys some good ideas for.
Because we can just go into the lore of just about anything that we're actually a fan of.
Yeah. So, I suppose thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys later. Care to take us out, Professor?
Oh, really? Sure. Sounds like a plan.
All right. So, once again, I am the Guardian,
I'm the Professor.
and we'll catch you guys next time.